So hi, it's Richard from usabilityblog.de, and let's talk about prototyping and user experience. So my today's guest is the founder of the podcast called everyonehatesmarketers.com. And so I say welcome and hello to Louis Grenier. Thank you.
Thanks. Hi. Thank you so much for your time. And that's probably one of the first person who managed to pronounce my name right the first time. So
Louis Grenier.
well done.
What are how do the others pronounce it?
Oh, I don't wanna advertise
Louis.
a false claim. Yeah, it's usually Louis Grenier, which is fine. It works, but yeah, it's not the
But
French way.
Grenier is right, right?
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Louis, in your new podcast, everyonehatesmarketers.com, you use one word pretty often. It's the word bullshit. Well, what is bullshit? Well, not literally, of course, but in the way you use it.
Yeah. So a few years ago, when I started my career in digital marketing, there was something that kept bothering me and annoying me in my day-to-day job. I kept finding people, writing articles or recording videos or even speaking at conferences and openly sharing the fact that it's okay to try to mislead people, or it's okay to do marketing the wrong way, or to lie to people as long as you get sales out of it. So it's okay to use black hat SEO tactics. It's okay to do all of that. And I never managed to get around that, and I always try to fight against it, even with my old bosses and stuff. So this kind of idea of this marketing, what I call the marketing bullshit around here, like starting to emerge a few years ago, and years after years, it started to get clearer and clearer why I was fighting against it. So to me, when I say marketing bullshit, it's really about doing things in marketing that you wouldn't like others to do to you, right? So that's kind of the simplest definition I can give you.
All right, so it's about, like, I would call it black patterns, like to trick people into something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and so what role does play this bullshit in your new podcast, Everyone Hates Marketers?
So what I'm trying to do in this podcast is trying to interview marketers who are not afraid to speak the truth, who are not afraid to cut through the bullshit of all of the nonsense that we can hear in marketing. So it's really about trying to debunk all those myths about marketing. For example, you don't have to use hacks all the time to get sales. You don't have to hack your way to success. Thinking long term and really thinking about the people behind using your website, for example, is the best way to do it. So there is many so-called best practices that are completely wrong. And I would summarize that by saying it's just marketing bullshit, right? Just for simplification. Yeah. But that's basically what it is. And many people believe it. Many people think that it's okay to lie to people. It's okay to mislead people. It's okay to use shortcuts all the time. It's okay to steal people's privacy just to make more sales. It's okay to use lingo that doesn't make any sense. And by the way, I don't blame those people necessarily, because sometimes they're pushed by their boss or by just the structure or the process or the system they're in. But it's not good in the long term. So for the podcast, we try to debunk all of that. I try to interview people who have been doing good marketing and trying to show that there is another way to do marketing. There is good marketing that you can do, and you can increase sales, or you can reach your objectives without having to trick people.
And is the podcast also about conversion optimization? I know you've been you have experience in that too.
Yeah, so it's digital marketing in particular, and yeah, obviously we touch on conversion optimization, but it's more importantly, it's really about using the right tactics to grow as a marketer. And you know what, conversion optimization, growth marketing, growth hacking, all of that starts with the people behind it. It's always start with your people, your customers, and trying to understand them. So at the end of the day, it's always kind of the same process. Any type of strategies in marketing is start with the people behind.
Yeah. So I said in the beginning of this interview is about supposed to be about user experience, and now we talk about marketing. So I just assume a lot of the UX designers listening to that here would say that user experience and marketing are two different pairs of shoes. So it's completely separated. But as I know you, Louis, a bit, I think you would disagree with that. So what's your opinion here? How close are marketing and user experience related to each other?
Yeah, sorry to cut you there. I think it's the same thing. So I know that a lot of UX designers listening to this will be, ooh, no, that's not true. We're not marketers, we're UX designers, we're in the UX industry. And I understand that. But to me, I would define marketing as understanding people, providing them with what they need, and promote that to the world, like trying to reach out to people, right? And to me, UX is a subsection of this. So it's about understanding how people behave and what they want, building the right interface, building the right environment for them to use and be happy with it, and therefore be successful as a UX designer and as a marketer. I think marketing has in my mind, and a lot of people will share this view, has a much broader thing than just advertising or copywriting. It's much bigger than that. And yeah, I would argue that UX is definitely part of it.
Oh, all right. So maybe back to conversion optimization. I just remember people like trying to put in hacks or tricks into the lingo of the pages they're trying to optimize. And are there a lot of marketers or let's say conversion optimization people out there? What's the job for conversion optimization? Is it a job?
Yeah, conversion optimizers or whatever you call it.
But, so are there a lot of these people really trying to understand the people, the users?
Yes. I mean, the good marketers who specialize in conversion rate optimization definitely do that. Any good marketers would start by understanding people. So in the subject of copywriting or using lingo on landing pages to try to sell. So like example of lingo would be, we are best in class, or we are we are an award-winning agency, best in class, best customer service. All of those words are completely empty of sense because everybody else is using it. So I don't blame people doing it. Once again, I don't, because I understand that it's incredibly difficult to write copy that people will like and resonate with. However, there is a very simple tactic or strategy to use to really transform a copy of any page, is to start by listening to people, especially how they, in their own words, explain what you do or explain what your product does. So by really interviewing people and really getting to know how they describe your service to their friends and family, you can literally exactly take the words and the phrases and sentences they use and put them in your landing page or any page, and that would really transform your copywriting. And the second thing I would say is to read the book called I'm going to forget about it right now, so I have a huge blank, but it's basically a book about the right order of things on a page. It's how to start with the problem statement, the solution, answering any objections that people have, going down to the proof. It's called The Brain Audit. There you go, by Shane D'Souza, The Brain Audit. So it's a very good book. So yes, writing copy is incredibly difficult. Avoiding lingo is incredibly difficult. But if you start by really understanding how people explain what you do in their own words and explain to you the objections or the fears they have, then you're going to become a much better UX designer or marketer in the long run.
Yeah, it's very interesting. How do you approach this in real life or in projects? Like, would you, for example, do a usability test with a prototype and then ask afterwards how the user would describe it in their own word and in his own words?
So I'm going to give you an example of a project we did last year. So that it was for a laser eye surgery clinic. And obviously the service being sold here is quite expensive, it's quite complex, there's a lot of fear around it, like getting a laser to fix your eyes. So what we actually did is we started by interviewing people. So we actually went on the phone and recruited people and just talked to them about their past experience with laser eye surgery. So we asked them, what were you afraid of before booking a consultation with the clinic? What were your fears? How would you describe the level of service you got from this clinic once you got the service? All this kind of stuff. So we created this kind of this long template of all those answers, and we classified them using the brain audit kind of template, which is a problem, solution, etc., etc. And we started by writing the copy then. So instead of focusing on trying to create or design a landing page or a page, we started by writing the copy. And then we created the graphic element around the copy, not the other way around. And we discovered, for example, that by far the biggest thing preventing people from booking a consultation was the fact that they were very scared of the impact that it might have on their health. By far, that was the biggest issue. So we answered that heads on. The first paragraph, the first thing that we mentioned was that we know that you're scared of that and that and that. This is why you shouldn't. So we chose to really answer this objection straight away instead of avoiding talking about it, for example. So I think once you start by listening to people straight away and making them talk, we are social animals. Those type of information gets processed into our brain really easily. And then this is when you can transform and create your first prototype and obviously show that back to those people and doing a back and forth very quickly, trying to avoid working on something for more than 2 or 3 weeks without showing anybody, for sure. I would argue that as soon as there is something new, you should get out there and ask again, even if it's very tough. Emotionally, it could be very painful to actually ask people what they think or whether they understand the copy or whether they behave the right way on the page. But that's by far the most valuable thing you can do.
That's very interesting what you say, because the typical approach would be like to design a page or to buy a template or so, and then use some lorem ipsum text, and then in the end, like 3 days before the release, you write something down.
Yeah,
I think so. I like this approach, like starting with the copywriting. I experienced that in a kind of similar way. I experienced that when my first when I kind of my eyes opened to this problem, like that UX and marketing should be related or should go hand in hand. When I was called to as a consultant, kind of to fix the user experience 1 week before the release. It was some service that helped you to check into hotels with a smartphone. Yes, and they had no user testing before, and they had no idea how to explain what this does. It was maybe the technology was cool, but nobody had an idea how to explain this to others. So they kind of told me come on, you're a user experience professional, do this onboarding thing and fix it, like repair it.
Yeah, so, it's very common. And once again, I know I repeat myself, but I don't want to blame people doing it necessarily, because I know that their boss or the management or whoever might prevent them from doing it. But the main thing here is it's much, much more expensive to repair or fix the user experience just before the product releases than doing it at the very first stage. So I would argue, and I would suggest people to the next project, instead of diving straight away into designing something, because that is what we are comfortable with, I would argue recruit 10 people that are your typical potential customer. Talk to them, understand their problem, the solution they use at the minute, the way they talk about it, understand who they follow, like the type of people they like and the type of brands they like. Understand all of that. Once again, use the brain audit as a starting point. And only then start and write the copy. Whatever it is, even a product interface, even a web page, just write the copy and go back to it with the 10 people and make them read it out loud in front of you and see how they react. Change that once, back and forth, until you have something that for sure resonate with people that are in your demographic. Once you have that, you don't need to repair or fix your user experience because you know for sure that it works. Obviously, you might have a few things to fix, but nothing compared to all the mistakes you're probably making all the way, for 6 months designing something that you haven't shown anybody. So yeah, the opportunity cost is huge if you don't it this way.
Yeah, that's really that's correct. I experience that a lot, and so you're kind of like a person that combines user experience and marketing. But in typical companies, I know it's more like you build the product and then you throw it over the wall to the marketing department, and they build a story around it. Sometimes you don't have a chance to do anything against that. But what would you recommend? How should marketers in a company be involved into the production or the conception phase?
So marketers have big egos. They think they're the best. I think people think that marketers are just over themselves. And there's one thing to realize here. If you have a good product or a good service, so people like it, recommend it to others, use it all the time, are very loyal to it, and find value into it, your job as a marketer is almost done. Okay? Yeah. Like, not almost done in the sense that you shouldn't market it and communicate and spread the word, but if you have a good product or a good service, that's the most important thing. Because if you have a bad product and you try to market it, this is when you turn into bad marketing practice or marketing bullshit, where you try to trick people into using something that is not good. So I would argue that inside a business, if you're a marketer and don't have any way of influencing the product, you're in the wrong company. You should leave and go somewhere else. If you can manage to convince the C-suite that you need to get involved from the start to understand whether or not people like it, then great. But usually when you have this type of politics inside of a company where, here, marketing, now you promote that, usually the battle is lost already. It's a very grim way of thinking about it, but that's what I believe.
Yes. I think a few years ago, I tried to solve this. The marketers or the company was a startup. They were pretty open to changes like this. But I also experienced that the marketers were kind of confused that I asked to involve them at this early stage. So I wasn't prepared what to tell them and how they might help me in the prototyping phase.
People are not used to this type of process because it's usually in departments, and marketing has their own department and stuff. There's a good way to try to get involved and try to get marketers involved is really to get people involved, like customers or potential customers, and talking to them and creating a story about it, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a very good way to convince anybody about something is to create a story, to tell a story instead of showing a spreadsheet. So instead of using numbers and say, we know for sure that this particular demographic converts at only 12%, and therefore we need to improve that, I would argue that you should just create a story about one particular person who's using your product in his or her daily life, and explain how she or he struggles to get to do the job that she's here to do, So by telling a story and convincing people this way, it's much easier than sharing a spreadsheet. And that's usually what marketers tend to do, which is normal. That's the normal way of doing it. But yeah, I would try to do that this way because it's much easier. It's much easier for people, especially in management, to process information. We like to think that people are good at understanding charts and bubble chart and pie charts and numbers. They're not. Yeah. People don't understand numbers. That's it.
Yeah, and if you do this at an early stage, I think let's say if you're developing an app, I think you have it much more easier when it comes to writing copywriting for the App Store, for example, because if the release isn't next week and you start to think about what to write in the App Store, you have a problem. But if the marketers are involved really early, you have done the most critical part really early. I think.
Absolutely, yeah. Sorry about the noise, yeah.
No problem. All right. We talked almost for 20 minutes, but I have one last part, my favorite part actually. So I prepared some marketing lingo or bullshit or marketing blah blah for you. I want to talk to teach you in German.
Okay, go on.
Okay, let's start in English. I will. So it's kind of a blueprint for an app, for every app. So no matter what app you want to publish, it will work. So in English, it's quick and easy. It's a versatile tool. It's an app just for you, and my favorite, a lot of other features.
Mm-hmm. Advanced features.
Advanced. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, a lot of advanced features.
Perfect. Thank you. So, how do you like my lingo here?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I think you could do about best in class, fastest, all those hyperbole that can't be proven.
Yeah, that's right, and to me this is user experience, because if I show this to people before they use a product or an app or a website, they have no idea, absolutely no idea what's coming.
Absolutely.
So they start into using the product very confused, and that's not what we want. And that's not why we did all this for months.
But that's a very important point that you're making here. Copy, the text, is part of the user experience.
Yeah,
like it's not an afterthought, because exactly as you said, people will read it, and if they're confused about what it does, then they are unlikely to perform the task you want them to perform on the app or whatever it is. So,
all right. So, quick and easy in German is schnell und einfach.
Schnell und einfach.
Yeah, perfect. So, a versatile tool, ein vielseitiges Tool.
Say that again.
Ein vielseitiges Tool.
Ein vielseitiges Tool.
It's enough. It's great. Yeah. You're good. You learned some. Did you learn some German back in the years in school? Or?
Yeah. My first school trips were in Germany, and that's when I learned how to drink and how to smoke. So thanks.
Yeah. So an app just for you is eine App nur für dich.
An App nur für dich.
And many other advanced features is und viele andere tolle features.
Und viele andere tolle features.
You're not German marketing guru.
Yeah. Ninja.
Yeah, ninja. Yeah, these four value propositions, they really work for every app. Maybe I should sell them.
Yeah, don't go too sarcastic, because people might believe you. So.
No. I hope they get that. This is not. They don't take this for real. I hope so. All right, Louis. Thank you very much. It was really interesting. I really agree with you about the importance of copywriting. Well, I studied communication science, so I have to agree with you. But I really, that's really my opinion. So thank you very much. I hope people who are prototyping can learn from this. And yes, I said thank you very much 2 times now. I said it 3rd time. Thank you very much, Louis.
No, you're welcome, and thanks for your time. And I hope people will learn a few things. And yeah, if they want to get in touch, they can just go to the podcast website, everyonehatesmarketers.com, and they'll find a way to contact me.
Yes. All right. Thanks, Louis.
Thank you.
Bye.